Hello and welcome back to the podcast, bros. As always, it's me, Aviz Ratsumargi, and today we are going to be talking about the movie Animal. Oh my god, what a movie! I mean, yes, what a movie in the total sense of the statement, what a movie. It was here, there, everywhere. It had flair, it was bombastic, it was just insane. It was a package of just exercise in excess. Okay, and yeah, so let's take it from the very top then. And the director of the movie was Sandeep Reddy Vanga. This name, I don't know if you guys have heard about him a lot or not, but he gained a lot of traction after he filmed the movie Kabir Singh, right? And before that, he had made the movie Arjun Reddy. Arjun Reddy is a Tamil version in 2017 that came out, and that was pretty much Kabir Singh in Tamil. And then he got an opportunity to make Kabir Singh itself. Sandeep Reddy has experience in the movie sector in terms of Bollywood, but mostly in the side of production, and his companies investing in other movies so that they can make it. But he himself has directed 3 movies that I know of and I could find, right? And the third one, of course, is this movie, The Animal. By the way, the name very aptly kept. Oh my god, there's so much to unpack in this movie. But yeah, so the writer of the movie was Suresh Bandaru. Sorry for butchering that name, but yeah, Suresh Bandaru, somewhat of a famous writer as well, got his prominence in the south side of India as well. The other thing, and this is the place where I have the most bone to pick with this movie, and that is the dialogue. And the dialogue was written by Saurav Gupta, right? And I don't know if he's written any other movies dialogue or nothing, but yeah, we'll dissect that pretty soon. But the budget for the movie was 100 crore, right? And as the movie lived up to the hype, was it able to make back the money? Oh my god, this movie has broken records, okay? And this year also so I said, right, like this movie is an exercise in excess. This year for Bollywood itself has been an exercise in excess for movies to earn money, right? We've seen some of the movies that Shah Rukh Khan made already like earning 700, 800 plus crores. This movie, within the first 11 days of its release, 739 crores. What do you say to the critics? Like, what do you say to anyone? Like, just shut up and yeah, just, and it's easily gonna cross over the 800 crore mark for sure. And by the way, 737.98 crore is the worldwide mark, not just in India. But you can see that this movie has a huge fan following, right? And a lot of people really enjoyed the movie. The runtime of the movie, this is another thing. Oh my god. And Bollywood really has to take charge of this. Sometimes they just don't know when to cut the movie, or how to cut the movie. 3 hour 24 minute of this is a non-stop, it's just like movie galore, action galore, and it just keeps going, and there's so much things and so much story happening, and so many so many threads and so many things that are just being pulled one after the other, and some of them still have loose ends, which, spoiler alert, there's going to be a part 2 of this. But yeah, so some of them have been dealt with and some of them haven't been, and some of them they touched on it, but Lord knows why. But anyways, really, really massive fan following for this movie. And the reason there was so much hype for this movie was also because of Ranbir Kapoor, one of the bigger superstars. There was this controversy that what's his name, Sandeep Reddy said that Ranbir Kapoor is the superstar that's hired for the movie, and that created some controversy. I don't know if this was a marketing ploy or a genius or whatever. But then the other thing, from the same family, Anil Kapoor, of course, and then Bobby Deol is there in this movie. Yeah, Rashmika Mandana, she got her prominence from the movie Pushpa, right? So she's there. Tripti Dimri, I had never seen her in any other of the movies, but yeah, she was there. And then there was Prithvi Raj, who was pretty good. Shashi Kapoor, I don't know what role he played, but he was there. And Prem Chopra was there, Suresh Oberoi, and Siddharth Karnik, and so just star-studded people, like people all across the board, whether it be on the hero side or the villain side. And just to put you guys in the seat of me when I was watching this movie, is there is no hero in this movie, right? There's just who you're rooting for or which side you are on. This is just a bloody gore and massacre, and just like I said again, an exercise in excess, right? Let me give you a little bit of a synopsis of the movie then. So we are following one of the richest family in India, right? And the son's undying love for his father, it goes unnoticed. And this is one of the nerves that I think it hit a lot of people, or the public's nerve that it touched, was that in our culture, it's very common that fathers and son do not have a very good bond, right? So this was one of the underlying theme that carried throughout the movie. And yeah, so that is one of the major story plot points. And the son's undying love for his father goes unnoticed. The son in this case is Ranveer Kapoor, whose name is Ranvijay Singh, and his father's name is Balbir Singh, right? So Ranvijay Singh's love goes unnoticed. The father, as he is the richest person in India, he is working constantly, right? So he's always consumed by his work. He doesn't have a lot of time for his family. He's just busy with his work, right? And then growing up with everything apart from the guidance of his family, you can see that there is some level of psychopathicness that comes in the son, right? And because of that, the son also takes the role of the leading man of the family, right? It's not encumbered on him as of yet. He's still a young kid, but there are scenes to show that because his father is always absent from the home environment, Ranveer Kapoor's character takes it upon himself to take care of some of his sister's bullies. And yeah, not just in a simple, hey, don't do that to my sister kind of way. This is more of a shut up or I'm gonna kill you kind of way, right? And so you can see that there's already this thing that's there, that psychopathic tendency, and also the arrogance of him being the son of the richest family in India, right? In a psychopathic way, it's already there in his head, in Ranveer Kapoor's character's head, that his main purpose is to protect his family in the absence of his father, right? And what happens is, unknowingly, because of this mental decline that he has, the son does absurd things. And because of this, Anil Kapoor, though he's not already there as a father, he distances himself more from his kid and sends him to American boarding school to study and complete his higher education and all this and all that and all. So because of him growing more in America as well, there is a pompousness to him, right? And he doesn't have the family culture and the societal culture instilled in him, so he becomes more and more pompous and arrogant. But because he's away from all the distraction that his family can provide in India, he is somewhat tamed. While he's in America, he starts devoting all his energy to his wife and his kids, and yeah, so the beast that is inside him is tamed for a while, right? But when the news breaks that the most powerful man in India and the richest man in India was almost assassinated and was severely injured in the attempt, he returns back, right? Ranveer Kapoor's character returns back, and the man who had tamed the beast inside him for so long comes back as an animal. Right, exactly, right? So that is pretty much the main theme of the movie and all that. And the other thing, dude, this is something that I really enjoyed about the whole part of it. Almost 40 to 50 minutes into the movie, that's when the first time the title of the movie hits, Animal, right? So all this that I've just said, this was all the setup, right? And once he comes back and he takes the first step of vengeance, that's when the first like the movie title screen comes in. So yeah, it is, like I said, the movie definitely has flair, not just in acting and all that, but in directing as well. So what are some of the stories and the layers that are in this movie, right? So one of the most important thing, and like I've already touched on this a little bit, father-son relationship has always been a huge part in our culture. There's no literature or anything that would suggest that fathers should treat their son a certain way. The only thing that has been taught in even the sculptures and all that is that the father is responsible for the growth of his child, right? So that is pretty much what the relationship between fathers and sons have been for generations, right? So that's one of the underlying theme of the movie that covers, like, it goes from head to toe, and it gets finally resolved towards the end, but still resolved in the loosest sense of the word, right? Then there is of course wealth and power, right? What can wealth and power do to someone who knows that he has enormous amount of wealth and power, and no laws or no one can stop him from basically doing anything, right? So that is the other thing. The other thing, and this is a little bit deeper in the movie, and I haven't gotten into the spoiler part of it yet, but the sins of the father, right? And this is a prominent theme that's been carried out over thousands of centuries. You can see it in holy books, you can see it in literatures, and like, you know, all these different things. But the sins of the father carries down towards the sin of the son, and the theme will continue in the second part of the movie as well, that like how the sin of the father, that is Anil Kapoor, or we can take it even above that, his grandfather, Anil Kapoor's father, makes mistakes that has to be repaid by Anil Kapoor, and Anil Kapoor he isn't able to redeem himself or like amend those mistakes. So then Ranveer Kapoor has to do that, and now the theme seems to be continuing in the next part where his kids might be in danger. So that's pretty much it on the sins of the father. Then of course the theme of how to raise children, you know, and yeah, it is I think, you know, if Animal did not have this theme of how to raise children and the sins of the father and the father-son relationship and all this, I think the movie would not be as good as it could have been. So how to raise children, right? Like, and that is the other thing that I think carries a lot of weight in this movie. And so to the credit of this movie, right, and I've already touched on the father-son relationship and sins of the father and all that, but to the credit of this movie, it shows how important family bonds are, right? And it's reflected in so many different ways. For example, when he goes to hire, Ranveer Kapoor goes to hire recruits. He hires for security for his father. He hires them from inside the family. I won't go much more in depth other than that. Don't want to go into spoiler territory, but you can see that is one of the themes, right? And then we can talk about the unhealthy love that Ranveer Kapoor's character has for his father, right? And all these different things. So these are some of the through points that follow throughout the movie. I think that really helps the movie be a little bit more cohesive, even when you are lost in the whole of its processing, right? So family bonds and how to raise children, these two topics are like, yeah, it's kind of really heavily laid on the whole of the movie. Then the other thing is the mental health. And yeah, so if we were to psychoanalyze this movie, I don't think any character in this movie is sane. Okay, there's so much toxicity in all of the relationship that anyone has, right? Whether it be the relationship of the brothers and sisters, Ranveer Kapoor and his wife, Anil Kapoor and Ranveer Kapoor, you know, and then on the flip side for the villains, even that, oh my god, the depiction, it's just, it's something, you know. And yeah, so mental health and the importance of taking care of your mental health is super important. Otherwise you might all turn into, that's right, animals. Final point of the movie, final through point of the movie is of course vengeance, and that is a tale as old as and yeah. So that's pretty much it. That's the pretty much through line of the whole movie, and there are more other subtle themes that carry throughout the movie, but yeah, these are some of the ones that just shouted at me straight up when I was watching the movie. So after all of this, let's talk about some of the movie magic and Bollywood machine, right? Like, and I have to give credit to the team that's behind this movie, Sandeep Reddy Vanga and his team. They were really good with the marketing. They made this amazing trailer that just got people hooked from the very second they saw the movie's trailer, and that trailer was one of the main reasons why as well that people were so hyped for this movie, because you could just see some of the flair that he had brought into the movie, and some of the extravagant, grounded in reality to some extent, at least not to the level of Batman Dark Knight and all that, but yeah, to some extent it was there. So in terms of marketing and selling it to the public, I think they did a banger of a job, and you can see that reflected in the box office like numbers, right? Now let's get into the acting. I'm gonna say this, right? And I don't know if people are gonna agree, disagree, whatever. But I thought acting across the board was good, right? Across the board. Ranbir Kapoor, of course, he hits it out of the park. Of course, look, guys, this is such a extravagant movie, right? That even Ranbir Kapoor has scenes that are misses. Okay, some scenes are just, you're like, what, like, and that breaks you out of the reality of it. But then on the flip side, the extravagantness of the movie pays off when some of these scenes just hit, right? And like, you're just like, oh my god, like, there are moments where you're not even thinking that's Ranbir Kapoor on the screen. There are moments when you're just thinking that like there's this actual person that's just going berserk in this GTA kind of world, where there's no repercussions and laws and all that. And you have to buy into it a little bit, but once you buy into it, then there's just like the train just left the station and it just keeps going and going and going. Anil Kapoor, of course, amazing acting as always. Bobby Deol, good, standout, but meh, like, everyone's so hyped for him and all this and all that, and I think most of it is because of the body transformation that he did, but he barely speaks in the movie. Wink wink. That's not a spoiler, by the way, but he barely speaks in the movie. And Rashmika Mandana, right? People have a lot of problem with her, and I thought she was decent. Was she given the best of scripts? No. Right? And did she have to make the best of whatever she got? Yes. Was the character some super rambunctious, amazing, crazy woman that's gonna just, inspire all these feminists? No. The movie is a type, right? And all the actors and the people that are in it, they're in that genre type of movie, so they have to play that part. So you couldn't expect anything. But I'll give her kudos for one thing, and that is, there's this scene in the movie, a 5 to 7 minutes scene, right, where it's just her and Ranbir Kapoor fighting, right? And it's not just like hand-to-hand combat, not UFC or MMA, but it's just verbal. And at that moment, I think the dialogues that was written, especially for the female character of Gitanjali, I thought that was just amazing, right? And the way she executes it, and there's a flaw to this. There is a flaw to that scene as well. The flaw is that throughout the movie, Rushmika sounds like a North Indian person, but in that scene, you can hear the South accent coming out of her, right? That's the only drawback I found in that scene. But the dialogue and the acting on her end was so strong that I thought that it overshadowed you could look past the accent, right? But in that 5 to 7 minute scene, she chews it. Like she eats that scene up. Like like there's maniacal laughing, there is depth of sadness, and then there's like just this logical way of thinking, and this is the female version of logical way of thinking when you are like arguing. And if you guys have been in a relationship, you can pretty much like you can see the way that she puts her points across and the questions that she's asking. It's just like, oh my god, this seems so real. But that was just an outstanding scene. Everyone else, of course, they did their part really amazing as well. And you guys have to understand as well that in this movie there's just like 15 to 20 characters, and then the whole movie just revolves around those 15 to 20 characters, and people come in and out, in and out, in and out. But this is a movie about vengeance. This is a movie about Ranveer Kapoor's character and Bobby Deol's character, though doesn't have the biggest part in the movie, but his shadow, his handprint is all over the movie. And yeah, it's just acting, just top-notch acting on everyone's end. I don't think anyone disappointed. And I have to give a little bit of a shout out to what's his name, Sakti Kapoor. I don't know why he was in the movie, but he was there and he acted. That's the best I can say for Shakti Kapoor's acting. But yeah, that's pretty much it on the acting front. Filmmaking and cinematography. Oh my days. This is where the movie really, really, really shines. It just elevates the acting to a whole different level. I was kind of surprised when I found out that Sandeep Reddy Vanga had only done 3 movies and this was his 3rd project. But there's this just flair of confidence that he tries so many different things, and it's so different and it's so unique in its making that yes, you feel the 3 hour 20 minutes of the movie, but you don't get tired. You know what I mean? Like it's just, I don't know how to put it into words. It's just something after the other. And then the way some of the edits have been done, I would have preferred it not be done that way. It could have been a little bit more straightforward, cohesive. But that's any movie, right? And yeah, it's just, oh my god, I don't know. There's a flair, there's a pizzazz, there's a flamboyance to the movie that I don't know if it's ever been done before in Bollywood or if it can ever be replicated to that extent. But it was just this amazing masterpiece filmmaking, and yeah, really, really enjoyed it. And so what did I say? Marketing genius, right? Acting genius, right? Filmmaking and cinematography genius, right? The music itself, oh my god, like it gets you going. It boils you. It like you're sitting in the chair and sometimes you're just nervous, sometimes you're just like anxious, excitement as to what's going to happen. And it's just even the music, and you could see some of the inspiration from, what was the movie, the Wakanda Forever movie, Black Panther, the first part, right? Like some of those drum playing and all that, like there's been inspiration from that kind of music as well. But this movie was just, oh my god, with the music, it's just something. It's just, I mean, look, if for nothing, you guys have to check this movie out for its flair that it has, and flair in all directions, that, like I said, movie acting, movie filmmaking, and the music itself. The worst thing in the movie is the story, because there's so many layers to it. There's so many themes and so many things that they're trying to just pack into this movie. And even that 3 hour 22 minute, it feels short to unpack all of this in such a short time. But after that, the weakest link was the dialogue. The dialogue in this movie, oh my days. Sometimes you're looking at the dialogue and you're like, oh, okay, well, that was just some wordsmithery that went on here, like it's just insane. And then you go to the flip side and then it's just like, what the hell happened to the dialogue here, And yeah, so it was such a hit or miss. That's why one of the reasons why, like, when people are saying that like Rashmika was not able to deliver on her acting front, if you have not given her good dialogues and you have just made her this girl that the damsel in distress, she, how can she outstand? And then the other thing on the flip side, oh my god, this is Tripti Dimri. Tripti Dimri's acting is okay. Like, she hasn't acted a lot in the movie. Okay. And people are like, Tripti Dimri with like 5 minutes of screen time, she's done so much. Bro, you're just lusting after her beauty. Okay. That's what I thought it was. Because she doesn't have great dialogue as well, you know. And her arc is weird as hell. And then there's this like 30 to 40 seconds of just back and forth dialogue that goes between Ranveer Kapoor and Tripti Dimri, and I'm like, oh my god, they just played a whole chess game within 30 to 40 seconds of dialogue, and the board is still set as it was set at the start of the dialogue. So that 30 to 40 seconds of dialogue, nothing. It was just like pulling at the strings, and then it was like, all of that was nothing. We started here, we're still here. Stupid. So yes, of course, there are the dialogues was just and then sometimes the dialogue are just like, oh my god, oh what, that was something, you know. So that's that, right? And that's pretty much the whole movie, by the way. So it's, some scenes are just like super crazy hits, and then some scenes are just like super crazy misses. For example, the fight scene right before the interval, I thought that was kind of meh, you know. And then, by the way, the action in this movie is not the traditional sense of action. It's not as crazy. Like, you cannot expect some South Indian level of action in this movie. They have tried it, they've done it, but it's not that great. But then some of the other, like the mental sparring and then the mental games and the gymnastics that you're playing leading up to the action, that's where the movie shines a lot more, right? And then finally, some of the parts that stood out, and then this could be stood out in a good way, this could be stood out in a bad way. The movie had a lot of blood and gore. The movie, of course, was rated 18 plus. It was for adults only, and yeah, tons of blood and gore. Gonna do a little bit of a spoiler here, so you guys have been warned. Please skip to the below mentioned time so that you can just avoid that part of the spoiler, but you've been warned. Okay. The way Bobby Deol is killed, what the hell is wrong with the Indian board? How did that go through? How did that pass? Oh my god, that was so graphic. You know, like, it almost felt like some terrorist genuinely doing an act of violence to a person, like literally just, what? How did this go through? But why would you want that in the movie? And I understand it from the director's perspective. He wanted to show reality and brutality in the realest of sense, because the way the end credit scene also plays out, you know, of where the new Ranveer Kapoor with the slick back hair just butchering the other two people. But still, oh my god, that kind of butchering can still be digested because it's not shown. But that just, oh my god, it was almost like someone was halaling Bobby Deol. Oh, anyways, so that's the end of the spoiler. But then the next thing, sexual. Oh my days, why is this movie so sexual? Why the hell on earth is this movie so sexual? You know, when I was watching this movie, one of the thought process that like went through my mind was, it felt very personal on the director's end. The way the movie was written, the way some of the dynamics played out, it was so real that like you could almost replicate it in the real world. And then the theme of sexuality, the theme flew throughout the movie so much that I was like, this director is a pervert. Okay, like this guy is so sexually just inebriated in his thoughts that I don't know. It's good that I went to watch this movie with my family. Friends. If I would have gone to watch this movie with my family, I don't know how I would have where I would have hid my face during these scenes, you know. And it's not even It starts right off the bat, right? Like 5 minutes, 7 minutes later, and already there's like sexual innuendos popping up. And even then, you're like, okay, sexual innuendos, it's pretty commonplace in Bollywood nowadays. And then more talk about sex, and then sex, and then something else, and then again sex or sexual stuff. I was like, oh my god, can we please just a little bit notch down? The other thing that really kind of, I don't know, took me out of the immersion every once in a while was the level of toxic relationship that was just on display all over the movie. And I understand this movie, like I said again, exercise in excess, right? So everything was just like, so if we're talking about something, for example, we're talking about bananas, then we're talking about bananas to the like 11th degree or 12th degree. So this is the kind of movie this is. Like, if we're talking about toxic relationship, then the toxic relationship is to the 15th degree, not to the 10th, so you can see all that. But yeah, the toxic relationship of this movie, sometimes a little bit immersion breaking, especially the relationship displayed between the father and the son. That one was a little bit I don't know if there are really people like this, and there might be for sure. But yeah, that's pretty much that on the toxic relationship side of it. The second half of the movie, bro, I sat in the theater for 2 hours straight, okay, and finally interval, and then an hour and a half more to go, and then it feels like the movie ends, but no, you fool, do you think this movie ends? No, still continues, and there's a post-credit scene, and that scene finishes, and then you're like, maybe now it finally is over, because we've already seen the roll credits, we've already seen all of this. No, there's another final scene. God damn it. Just, this movie has pacing issues, this movie has story issues, this movie has dialogue issues. It's just, god damn it. I've given a lot of props to the director throughout the whole review so far, but bro, just tone it down a little bit. I get it that you're trying to pack as much as you can, but some of the things just could have been left on the cutting room floor. Nobody would have noticed, and this movie's runtime could have gone down like by 30 to 40 minutes, and still you could have delivered I wouldn't say a perfect masterpiece, but pretty close to perfection, so that's pretty much it. Now, would I recommend this movie? Hell yeah, go check it out at least once, especially if you're over 16, 17. Go check it out at least once. It's worth watching in the theater. It's something, man. It's just, you have to watch it. It has to be seen, and it's not for everyone, for sure. It's definitely not for everyone, but there's something for everyone in it. So yeah, so that's my review on the movie Animal, and there's a part 2 coming. And again, the marketing team did such a good job, because generally when you announce the second part, or like you're putting a hook for the second part at the end of the end credit scene, then you do it coming soon, 2024, 2025, whatever, like you put in the dates and all that, and please come back or something like that. But the second part's name is Animal Park. Okay, so in this movie, the first is like, it's a tamed beast that comes out and has to become an animal, right? So that he can protect his family, right? But now part 2 is Animal Park. So that means now that the vengeance from one side has been taken, the other side is also coming, and now he's already an animal. These people that are coming are also animals, so now it's like an animal park, right? And the way they worded it at the end as well, it's so well crafted and well done. Come visit us soon, right? Because it's a park, so come visit us soon. So yeah, so the marketing team already working on the second half of it, and I think the movie will definitely cross 800 crores. People are gonna enjoy it. Of course, people are gonna enjoy it, but it's not for everyone, like I said. But people might enjoy it. There's something for everyone in it, and yeah, that's pretty much it on the Animal Movies review. What did you guys think about it? Did you guys like it? Did you guys not like it? Did some of the things that I said in this review resonate with you guys, or did it not? Please let me know in the comment section below. And thank you so much for tuning in, and see you guys in the next one. Peace.